Hi. Now coming to this set talks about various kind of ACs that are sold by 4 dealers D1, D2, D3, D4. So the set itself is not very difficult. It's just that there is a lot of information and you have to correlate the information that is given. Okay. So let's look at what is this information. So you have two kind of ACs, window and split ACs, that are being sold by D1, D2, D3. And these two kind of ACs again are categorized either as inverter type or non-inverter type. So we can basically make a table out of this for this data that is given. So there are 4 dealers. They sell total 4 kind of ACs. 2 kind of window ACs, inverter, non-inverter, and 2 kind of split ACs, again inverter and non-inverter, and then we'll have total number of ACs. Okay. Now next is, it is known that the total number of ACs sold in the city, of the total number of ACs, 25% of them were window variant. Okay. Of the total number, whatever is the total number of ACs, 25% are window variant. That means 75% must be split variant. Correct? Next, among the inverter ACs, okay, so when we talk about just the inverter ACs, this and this together will give us total inverter ACs of window type, and this together will give us total inverter ACs of split type. So total inverter ACs will be this part plus this part, and of these two parts together 20% were window variant. So this is 20% of the total inverter ACs. So this is going to be 20% of just the inverter ACs, hence this is going to be 80% of just the inverter ACs. Cool. Next is, the following information is also known. The first is, every dealer sold at least 2 window ACs. Okay. So every dealer D1, D2, D3, D4, all of them sold at least 2 inverter ACs. 2 window ACs, sorry. So D1 sold window ACs will be inverter plus non-inverter type. So the value of both these blocks together should be 2 or more than 2. So this should be together more than or equal to 2. Similar, these two together should be more than equal to 2, more than equal to 2, more than equal to 2. Okay. Next, D1 sold 13 inverter ACs. Okay. D1 sold 13 inverter ACs. So inverter ACs would consist of either window type or the split type. So these two together is 13. Now if these two together is 13, so let's say this is A, hence this must be 13 minus A. Okay. While D3 sold 5 non-inverter ACs. So for D3, non-inverter ACs will be this one and this one together. Window type and split type non-inverter ACs. So these two together is 5 for D3. So if this is B, this is going to be 13 minus B. Okay. Next, a total of 6 window non-inverter ACs. So window non-inverter ACs. So total of this is 6. Right? And 36 split inverter ACs were sold. Split inverter is this whole thing together. This whole thing together is 36. Okay. Now 36 is 80%, so 20% will be 1/4 of this. Hence the total inverter ACs of window type will be 9, and this is 36. Right? So this is 9. And this is 36. So basically now what we have, window ACs, how many total windows ACs are there? 9 plus 6, 15 window ACs are there. And this 15 is 25% of the total. So 25% is 1/4. So 1/4 of the total ACs is 15. Hence the total number of ACs is 60. So if 60 is the total number of ACs, how many split ACs will be there? 75% of 60, 3/4 of 60. So 3/4 of 60 is 45. So we'll have total 45 split ACs, and out of these 45 split ACs, 36 are inverter types. So the non-inverter types will be 45 minus 36, 9. Right? So far we have this table. Fine. Next, it's given that the number of split ACs sold by D1. Split ACs sold by D1. Okay, so this, both these blocks together, this is twice the number of Windows ACs sold by. So window AC sold by, it will be this whole thing together. Okay. So if these two blocks together is X, these two blocks will be twice of X, right? So we'll keep this in mind. Next, D3 and D4 sold an equal number of window ACs, and this number was 1/3 of the number of similar ACs sold by D2. Okay. So D3, D4 we are talking about window ACs. So window ACs as in we are talking about this whole inverter and non-inverter type together. So D3 and D4 sold equal number of window ACs. So if let's say this is let's say Y, this whole thing, both these blocks together, both these blocks together will also be Y, and this is 1/3 the number of similar ACs sold by D2. So similar AC sold by D2 will be window ACs. So Y is 1/3 of this D2. So D2 should be 3 times of Y. Okay. So the total number of AC sold by window AC sold by D1 is X, D2 is 3Y, D3 is Y, and D4 is Y. Now adding all these values together, X plus 3Y plus Y plus Y will give us the total number of window ACs, which is 15, right? So we have X plus 3Y plus Y plus Y is 5Y. This is equal to 15. Cool. And we also know X has to be greater than equal to 2, Y has to be greater than equal to 2. Now if X and Y both have to be greater than or equal to 2, the least possible value of Y is 2. So if Y is 2, so 5 into 2 is 10, X comes out to be 5 here, right? But if we take Y to be equal to 3, so 5 into 3 15, 15 minus 15, X comes out to be 0, which is not possible. X has to be greater than 2. And if you further increase the value of Y, the value of X will decrease, which is not possible. So the only possible value of Y is 2 and X is 5. Okay. So we know X is 5. So these ACs together are 5. So the number of window ACs sold by D1 is 5. Y is 2. So 3 into 2 is 6. Y is 2 and here Y is 2. Okay. So this is what we have so far. Next. So we are done with this. We are done with this as well. And we are done with this as well. Now come to point 6. D2 and D3 were the only ones who sold window non-inverter ACs. Okay, window non-inverter ACs. D2 and D3 were the only ones who sold it. That means D1 and D4 did not sell window non-inverter ACs. So this must be 0, this must be 0. Now, if these two together is 5 and this is 0, that means this must be 5. Okay, so we can ignore this whole thing. So if this is 5, that means A is 5, that means 13 minus A is 8. This is 8 and this is 5. And we know this is 2x. So x was sum of these two. X was 5. So these two together must be 10. And if this is 8, this must be 2. So we can ignore this as well now. Okay. So this is 0, this is 0. And if this is 0 and these two together is 2, this must be 2 as well. So we can ignore this. Let's ignore this and ignore this. These two together are some values. What are these values? Let's figure out. So D2, D3 were the only ones who sold window non-inverter ACs. Cool. And the number of ACs sold by D2 is twice the number of these ACs sold by D3. So number of these ACs as in window non-inverter ACs. So D2 sells twice of D3. Okay. So if let's say this is whatever you call it S, this will be 2S. And sum of all these 4 values must be 6. So 2S plus S, 3S is 6. So S comes out to be 2. So this must be 2 and this must be 4. And if these two together is 6, this must be 2. And if these two together is 2, this must be 0. So from here B comes out to be 2. Okay, so this is not 13. I made a mistake here. This must be 5, right? Number of non-inverter AC sold is 5 here by D3. D3 sells total non-inverter AC is 5. So if this is B, this must be 5 minus B. Hence, if B is 2, 5 minus 2 is 3. This comes out to be 3. So we ignore this as well. Okay, cool so far. So we're done with this point as well. Fine. Coming to now the seventh point. Seventh point says D3 and D4 sold an equal number of split inverter ACs. Split inverter ACs. D3, D4 sold an equal number of split inverter ACs. So let's say this is X. Fine. And this number was half of the similar AC sold by D2. Similar ACs is inverter split ACs. So X is half of the split ACs, inverter AC sold by D2. So if X is half of this, so this number should be twice of X, right? And we know sum of all these values must be 36. So we have 2x plus x plus x. 4x plus 8 is 36. 4x plus 8 is 36. So 36 minus 8 is 28. 28 by 4 is 7. So x comes out to be 7. So this is 7, this is 7, and this is 14. Okay? And we are done with the last point as well. So far, what we have is the total number of AC sold by D1 is 5 plus 8, 13 plus 2, 15. For D2, we can't figure out the total number of AC sold because we don't know the number of non-inverter ACs here. For D4 also, we don't know the number of non-inverter ACs here. So these are question marks. For D3, the total number of ACs sold is 3 plus 7, 10, 10 plus 2, 12. Okay. This number here must be 14 plus 4, 18, 18 plus 2, 20, 20 plus, let's say this is C. So 20 plus C. Now if this is C, what is the value of this number here? Sum of all these should be 9. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So this plus this block together should be 9 minus 5, 4. So these two together should be 4. So if this is C, this must be 4 minus C. Hence this total here will be 2 plus 7, 9, 9 plus 4 minus C, which is 13 minus C over here. Okay. So this is the table that we get. Now let us answer the questions. First question is, how many split inverter ACs did D2 sell? So split inverter ACs for D2 is 14. So the answer to this question is 14. Next, what percentage of ACs sold were of non-inverter type? Okay, so how many non-inverter type ACs were sold? So non-inverter was 6 plus 9, 15 out of 60. So 15 non-inverter ACs are there out of 60. So 15 out of 60 is effectively 25%. 15 by 60 is 1/4, 1/4 is 25%. Then we have, what was the total number of ACs sold by D2 and D4? Okay. So total AC sold by D2 and D4 together. So although we don't know the value of C here, but if you look at the sum, 20 plus C plus 13 minus C, C and minus C gets cancelled out, we get 20 plus 13 is 33. So the total number of AC sold is 33 by both of them together. But although we don't know the individually D2 sells how many or D4 sells how many, but together they sell 33 ACs, that's for sure. Cool. Next, which of the following statements is necessarily true? Let's look at each of these statements one by one. First, D1 and D3 sold an equal number of split ACs. So we have to figure out which of this is necessarily false, which is definitely false. So D1, D3 sold an equal number of split ACs. Okay. D1, D3 sold an equal number of split ACs. D1 sold a total of 10 and D3 sold a total of 10. This is definitely true. This is actually true. So this cannot be false. So this cannot be our answer. Next, D1, D3 together sold more ACs as compared to D2 and D4. Okay. Okay. So D1, D3 together sold how many ACs? 15 plus 12, which is 27. So D1, D3 together sold 27 ACs and D2, D4 together sold 33 ACs. But the statement says that 27 is more than 33. How is that possible? That's not possible. So this is definitely false. So this should be your answer. Option B is definitely your answer. Right? Because this is definitely false. So even if you want to check for C and D, D2 sold highest number of ACs. So is this definitely false? Now D2 sold 20 plus C ACs, which is definitely going to be highest. No one else sold. So since this is 20 plus C, The least value of C is 0. So the least number of ACs sold by D2 is 20, and no one else can sell more than 20 ACs. So highest number of ACs is sold by D2. So this is true. So this cannot be false, right? This is also true. So this cannot be false. And finally checking last option D, D4 sold more split ACs as compared to D3. D4 sold more split ACs as compared to D3. Okay. So D3 sold a total of 10 and D4 sold a total of 7 plus 4 minus C, that means 11 minus C. Now, is this definitely false? Is this definitely false? D4 sold more ACs. Well, it may be false, it may not be false. If let's say C is 0, that means D4 sells 11 ACs and D3 sells 10 ACs. In that case, D4 sold more ACs than D3. So this may be true. May be true. Okay? It will become false if C is, let's say, 3, 4 or 5, something like that. But anyways, that is only a possibility, that is not a definite condition. So this is not definitely false, this may be true, this may be false. So definitely false is only statement B. And now coming to the last question, if D3, D4 sold an equal number of ACs. Okay. D3 and D4 sold an equal number of ACs. So if this is 12, this must also be 12, and this will be 12 when C is equal to 1. So that means this becomes 12. If C is equal to 1, this becomes 21. Okay. Now the question is, then what was the number of non-inverter ACs sold by D2? Okay. So non-inverter ACs sold by D2. So D2 non-inverter ACs will be 4 plus C, and C comes out to be 1. So 4 plus 1 is 5. So the answer to this particular question is option B here. Okay. So that's it for this set. Thank you.